Hey everyone, welcome to the show. Really excited for today's episode. We have Tristan with us. He's currently the VP of People and Talent over at Almedia. So welcome to the show, Tristan.
Hi, James. Thank you so much for having me on. I didn't ask already. What time is it over there?
Oh, it's so in the DC area, I'm in Northern Virginia, it's 10:30 a.m.
Nice, cool. Okay, well, I haven't got you up too early. Thanks.
In your are you currently in Berlin?
Yeah, it's our first sunny day in the last like 14 days, I think. And it's about
Nice.
3:30 over here.
3:30, first sunny days. It's I don't know how it's been in Europe, but the winter here in like the East Coast of the US has been awful.
Yeah.
It's been insane, man. Like I know you said you're thinking about maybe you and your team might be going to New York in a month or two,
Yeah.
but it's I mean, I like in February I was traveling to New York
Hmm.
and I had to reschedule the trip one time because there was like a blizzard coming in or something. And and so I rescheduled for 2 weeks later and then I got stuck in a blizzard when I was in New York 2 weeks later. It was like it was
So you tried to
crazy.
avoid it and it followed
No,
you. Yeah.
it just followed me, and then my plane was canceled. I couldn't leave, which I guess there's like worse places to be stuck than New York City. So it's like it was fine. I it wasn't it was still nice. It's still New York, but yeah, it's wow, first sunny day in 2 weeks. That's you should be outside. What are you doing with me?
I can miss this.
Yeah.
But yeah, I will reach out to you first before we organize our travel. So just to double check if it's sunny over there.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Well, you definitely do because I'll come up and we can grab lunch then or something like that. That'd be awesome. Um, well, cool. Everybody wants to learn more about you. Where are you from?
So I was born just outside London, in a place called Buckinghamshire, in the UK.
Okay, nice.
Yeah,
Nice. Now you were the oldest so you have one of five, right?
yeah, yeah.
And
And it was a pretty wild, I guess, childhood. So my parents had me pretty young, as it goes. I think my mum was 18 and my dad was 16. And yeah, a certain journey. And they went off into university or college over there together when I was like three. So I went through that whole kind of environment at a very, very early age of between the ages of like 3 and 6, where they were just passing me around their friends while they went to lectures and whatnot. And it certainly had an effect on kind of what I do and how I interact today, for sure.
so you went to university at a pretty young age. That's
Yeah. Yeah.
you beat Einstein there. That was ahead of your time. So that's that's awesome. Yeah. So you and you said your youngest sibling is like it's like you said like 21 years younger than you, right?
Yeah. So I started earlier in my career as like teaching. And I just remember being in the classroom and my mum messaging me and just saying, "Hey, I'm pregnant again." And I was like, "What? How?" Yeah,
That's awesome.
there's a big age gap with that one, and there's a more minor age gap with the others. Um,
Well, you had said that you're so before you got into the world of talent acquisition, you were a teacher. But I guess you were probably a teacher a lot like, way before you actually were a teacher in a school, just because you grew up with so many
mm,
siblings and you were the oldest. So I'm sure you sort of like assumed that role throughout like growing up as well, right?
it's a funny way of looking at it, but I really do feel like everything that I do now and have done has had it's been such a direct impact on my childhood and getting to this, right? Like as like, when I was around 16, I had three young siblings and I was by far the oldest, and I was just kind of babysitting or more about kind of making sure that they don't fight too much and the classic things. But yeah, it all kind of plays out, and it still plays out. These relationships, it doesn't matter how much we kind of improve and self-improve. I think when you go back, like the US to Thanksgiving and stuff, and you see your family around the table, I genuinely believe everyone kind of reverts to these kind of almost like child table kind of personalities.
It's true.
Yeah.
I don't know how much I like that in my case.
I'm just calling it out.
Yeah. I'm like, I've grown a lot since then.
Yeah,
Yeah, but it's true though. I think you do like when you're like kind of back around family or back around like folks that even like friends, right? Like
yeah, yeah.
I don't know. I live in an area like DC area where like a lot of families they move here for work, right? Like a lot of people aren't from the DC area. Like they're transplants, they come here and then they leave, right? And so I was like born and raised here and I have family here, so I always moved back. Like I traveled a lot, I moved back. But a lot of my friends, they went to school here and then they moved and they did move back. But it's funny, whenever I do get to see them, it's like we're 15 again. You know,
It's it's
it's
it's really bizarre.
ridiculous.
It's really, really bizarre. And it like don't get me wrong, it's not like, going around the family table and everyone's like jostling and like throwing peas at each other and whatnot. Not that that was my childhood.
Well,
But, like it's just those kind of minor annoyances which would never annoy you in a normal day to day. But if somebody sibling that you've got this really close bond with, it's just you're like, whoa, why am I so angry right now or unhappy or whatever? It's
yeah.
fun. It's nice.
Yeah, it's yeah, it's it's fun. Yeah, exactly. It can be for sure.
Yeah.
And so, how did you get into you also you had a kind of an interesting path in terms of how you got into teaching.
Yeah.
How did that how did you initially do that?
Yeah, I'll go over. I think the easiest way to kind of run over that is to kind of go over my career from like day one, right? Like I was always really, really motivated. Um, my parents, going off to university when I was a kid, and then going straight into these like really kind of relatively like high performing jobs where they're doing like 60 hours a week, and really making a good career for both of them. Um, I that definitely had an impact on me. And so when I was 14, I got my first job, and I started swim coaching or swim teaching.
Oh, nice.
And so firstly, I was doing that with like large classes, classic kind of swim teaching, right? When most people go and learn, where you've got like 15 kids and one teacher and a float and someone saying kick, kick, kick. Um, and I had the energy for that for sure. And then through like a referral, somebody kind of introduced me to this really specialist swim coach where it's one-on-one teaching with a very, very different method. So you've got like a mirror bottomed pool, you've got cameras set up, and you're looking at the exact technique. And so I went from I was doing them both in parallel at points. But the one-on-one method was super expensive, really luxurious kind of style. And I did that for many years until I was like 18, 19, before I started working at Apple Retail. Saying I'm a genius doesn't hit quite the same anymore, as it did in my teens. And that was, a great kind of it was a really great opportunity to really be able to meet people from all walks of life and also satisfy my really tech nerd curiosity and being able to repair things and educate. Um, I remember, my 2 years working there, where I think one of the most kind of enjoyable elements of my work was they used to have these kind of Britney Spears like headphone things if you're doing a talk or a speech, and I would go and do them each week where I'm taking everyone around and going, this is the introduction to the iPhone, this is what you can do with it. It was great fun. People I really enjoyed it. And I think I definitely kind of got bit by the bug of that, of kind of seeing people get inspired and people learn. And there was this opportunity at a school in the UK where you can kind of go into teaching as an apprentice. And so you kind of learn to teach on the job, and there's this whole kind of qualification that goes alongside it, without a degree. Now, I have my own thoughts whether that's a positive or a negative thing. I think schools kind of use it as a way to kind of save on budget and ask for a full teacher, but pay a little bit less than a fully qualified one. But I'm 20, I'm 21 at this point, and I'm thinking, wow, what an opportunity. I can take what I'm doing at Apple retail, which it would only take me so far, and then go into the classroom. Now, what I wasn't expecting going into this was like day one, first day of work was going, this is your class. And I was like, oh, cool, yeah. And like co-teacher I'm teaching with. Oh no, you are that teacher. Which
This is like public school, like,
yeah, this public school.
and how many students did you have in that first class?
Like 15.
15?
Yeah, what yeah, 1 5. Yeah,
Yeah,
15.
and you're just
I had like a teaching assistant, which again is insane to me, bearing in mind that that's kind of what I was thinking I'd be doing and learning from.
right.
Come in 3 days a week.
So, how much training did you have before you were given a class?
Honestly, James,
Yeah.
well, I'd say my whole childhood working with my siblings.
Okay, all right.
Uh,
That's like I mean like by the government or whatever. Like I mean, what
no,
was
no, 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 no. So we had like a monthly. We had like once I started, you'd have a monthly evening session. But like
once a
day
month?
one, yeah.
No, but there was like a boot camp or something ahead of time,
No,
no?
no, no,
What?
no. It's honestly insane. And without getting into
What?
too much
How?
politics, it's probably the state of the like the problems with the schooling in the UK at the time. But it certainly wasn't a solution.
So like wait, but like this is fascinating to me because I'm just like trying to figure out that must have felt like a lot of pressure going in because you're just like
It, yeah, looking back at it and kind of thinking about it, I think it's completely crazy, right? But at the time, it was just like, oh yeah, this is par for the course. This is how
right.
it is.
Yeah.
Um,
I
it,
guess also
it,
you're a lot
it
younger, right? Like you don't really your
no,
perspective
exactly.
on things are different. And then like as you get a little older, you're like looking back, you're like, wait a second. Like,
No, exactly,
yeah.
exactly. So I did that, like, I'm 21 going into that, and I did that for 2 years, and it was, I loved it. And I'll always say that, like, if you're really passionate about teaching and education and stuff, yes, you should do it. But I also feel for people that, and I've had a few friends who've done this, who've gone and studied for 4 years, gone into it, and then gone, oh no, I hate this. Now I need to completely pivot. I was fortunate that I wasn't in that position. I was doing my second year of teaching there. I'd gone into the next school year. And I just remember going into the teacher's staff room, and there was this teacher that was, about to retire. They were in their late 50s. And I was always like this bright-eyed, bushy tail, kind of always hype and energy. And he was just like looking at me, kind of going, don't do it. It's not what it was when I started. It's only going to get worse. Super, super negative. And it wasn't just that, but like it certainly was like the fine of the straw that broke that kind of camel's back, where I was like, okay, I need to listen to this person who's been doing this for like 35 years, who looked a little bit broken at that point from everything that had been thrown at them. And it was within like 6 months of that interaction that I'd been I started my career in recruiting, and I'd messaged this like international recruitment agency. I know many of the listeners have probably heard of it as well, S3. I think it's got a little bit smaller in the last couple of years, but I know it's pretty notorious, at least over in Europe, being quite a hard grind. Just saying, look, I'm teaching right now. I know this is a bit more of an obscure kind of path into it, but are there any opportunities? And I went in and kind of set up a tech, a permanent technical desk, and started leading a team within a couple of months.
No, that's exciting. So you're already leading with it almost immediately.
Yeah, yeah,
Well, so
yeah. I
then
mean,
I guess that's good that you're probably feeling like, oh, this is maybe a career path I should pursue. It sounds like you had some aptitude for it, right?
100%. Like any person in their very early 20s, or like many in their very early 20s, I certainly had yeah, I can do this
You can do
100%. Let's
anything.
just, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
you need some of that when you're starting out because we don't have the skills, so you need you need something to compensate.
you
You have
need
to,
some self-belief. Yeah.
right. You have to be able to believe in yourself. Like, I'll figure it out. Yeah, that's great. That's really cool. And so and now you're like you've held several different leadership roles. Before
Mhm.
we hit record, you were telling me about. I would love to start with Rapid, right? So not like now you're at Almedia, but going back to Rapid because it sounds like that company was going through some insane scale. Uh, I would love to just hear that story, just like kind of start to. finish, like what, what that was all about.
Rapid was it was honestly the best of times and the worst of times, for in equal measure, right? Like it was such a funny opportunity that came up. And let me explain that. Like, so I'm living in the Highlands of Scotland, working remotely. I have my own little kind of consultancy where I'm partnering up with, pre-seed and kind of maybe Series A businesses in Berlin, London, and Paris. So I'm working with these companies that have like 15, 20 people in max, wanting to hire and wanting to understand what they need to hire. Um, and then I got reached out by this recruiter in San Francisco, and he was like, "Oh, let's have a chat. We're wanting to do some expansion in Europe." And I'm thinking, great, cool. So this is a big client for the consultancy. Fantastic. Let's go. And then like I had a conversation with a recruiter, realized it definitely wasn't just they wanted to hire somebody here. And I was really unsure about it. I said, no, no, no. Let me set up a meeting with the engineering director who's leading out Europe and stuff. You guys can have a chat and then go from there. And I had this conversation, and this incredible person over in San Francisco was just so incredibly passionate and so driven. I was like, yeah, we're going to scale this out here. I can see that you've consulted and you've helped these before, and I was just honestly, it was infectious. And it was within like a couple of minutes of that meeting, I was like, okay, cool. I want to come build for you. Let's go. And so I joined the business to head up the talent for Europe as they scaled out as a remote employee based in the Highlands. About 6 weeks into my role there, I was over in San Francisco. And the founder, he's 24, founder and CEO, incredible, incredible person. He was like, "Do you want to move to Berlin and set up the office?" And like, how can you say no to something like that when that kind of opportunity comes up? So, like, I think 3 months into my time there, I'd relocated to Berlin. I'd set up the entity, found an office space, and just scaled it. And it was just this kind of like building mentality, just scaling and growing. So, high level, I joined the business there when there were 90 employees when I started. I left at around 250 employees. Um, it was a hyper growth over 2 years. We had our main investor was Andreessen Horowitz, and so I learned an awful lot from that as well. Some incredible kind of hyper growth kind of strategies and how to scale. I also learned what the negatives of VCs as well. Watching the business and the leaders every quarter have to pivot because we're still not making positive revenue. And I think one of the funny memories from that time, yeah, one of the funniest memories for me. We sponsored an F1 racing team when we weren't actually cash flow positive. So we sponsored this F1 racing team. It was incredible. Like, don't get me wrong, like super hype. We fly out the team and the car to our AKO in Morocco, along with the whole company. So we've got 250 people from the US,
That
from
is wild.
Israel, Germany, all coming over to Morocco along with this team. And I'm just thinking, how? like, how is this working? Looking back, I think the
Yeah.
VCs are probably thinking that too, a little bit. Unfortunately, that kind of wind down a couple of months after that. You know how it all changed back in 2022, and I was really obviously I was kind of really saddened by this. Something that we built, incredible people all in one room, really fantastic.
Was it just that like revenue wasn't like the revenue growth wasn't where it needed to be?
It was, yeah, and the
Like,
product
because they had
market
like a huge valuation, right? Like, I mean, didn't you
they
guys
did, but SoftBank. But
right? Didn't you like what didn't the company end up getting like $1 billion valuation or something? Like at a Series D raise?
yeah, Series D SoftBank, and
That's
then
wild.
it, it really was. I think unfortunately we just didn't some of the launches. Sorry, some of the launches didn't go as we'd hoped.
Mm, yeah, yeah.
And so, at the end, It went from 250 to like 35 people in a matter of weeks. A real shame, but honestly, that was the bug that really bit me about working, like building a super high performing team where everyone is, it's not about just working more hours. It's about wanting to work alongside other people and learn from them and drive this real kind of high performance culture. Um, and so when that ended, I was fortunate to have, 6 months to really look for what I wanted to do next. And I'll tell you, James, I spoke to so many AI companies. This is, a couple of years ago now. And my first question to all of them, bear in mind, I'm coming off this kind of, doing 70, 80-hour weeks, and it kind of imploding. My first question to all of these kind of hiring managers and CEOs was, what's the runway? They're like, whoa, why is this person so? What's the
Yeah.
runway of this? What's the exit plan? And with many of these AI companies, they can give me a satisfactory answer. We'll grow to this, we'll get another series. It was a little more dubious. Then I got probably one of the worst recruiting messages that I've ever received to this day.
Well, you gotta tell us what it is.
Yeah. So I got a message which it's on my LinkedIn still, and it literally just says, "Do you want to make free cash? Come and work here." Now, like any sane person, yeah, I know, no, I know, like any sane person, I was like, "This is a scam, right? What is this, right?" Like there wasn't really much brand visibility for free cash at that point. There were like 20 people. There was no mention of free cash really online. They had a website but no app, um, and there was nothing about the founder or anything. And I'd been trying to do some research on that. Um, Really fortunate for me. Of course, I didn't reply to that message, right? I do think it's a funny intro to how I'm here. I then got a message like a month after from an external recruitment agency going, "There's this bootstrapped company in Berlin. They're like 30 people now. They're looking for this, senior people person to come in and set things up to scale." And I'm thinking, you know, bootstrapped, and they want to like go into this hypergrowth. And the only way that you can do it being bootstrapped is you're in this positive revenue, right? Like you're doing well and you're being able to self-fund it. And so I come in, I meet the founder and CEO, Moritz. He was 21 at the time, which I didn't know. And so I come in and I'm just like, this is insane. I love the passion that you have for what you're doing. You've set this up. You set this up as a teenager while he was playing games. I was like, I can make a successful business out of this. But if I do join here, and I said this like from day one, we need to go for a big rebranding and make Almedia as the kind of like main employer brand for the business. And so I came into the business and spent a significant, portion of my first month going through this extensive rebranding with a design agency, which is what you see today throughout our business that people can really rally behind, and it looks like the unicorn that we are.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so I know like one of the things that you talked about with me before we hit record was just your approach to being in a talent leadership role at Almedia versus initially at Rapid, and you
Mhm.
talked about like you called it like overbuilding to an extent
Yeah.
at first, but like maybe not, right? Because it's like you the first time around you noticed all these headaches that kind of came in at when you had scaled to like 100 and so you really tried to get ahead of those this time around with rapid scaling. And so like for leaders tuning in, this could actually be really helpful. Is like when you know, okay, you walk into an environment like, okay, we're going to be growing quickly. What are the things that you do when you first walk into the environment to make sure you don't hit roadblocks at 100 people plus?
100%. I'll run over that. I like the headline I want here though is like, don't build process for the sake of process. I hate that. Like, it needs to
Right.
be
That's not what you're
super,
talking about. It's a
yeah, yeah, yeah,
different, yeah.
super fluid,
Right.
super agile, but have some kind of framework in the background that you can refer to in the future as to why you made these decisions. So one of the pain points for me, coming into my last business when we're at 90 and we're scaling out was, oh, we need to create a leveling system. Then we've got these salary kind of bands that we need to do, and then we need to kind of align everyone to that. Painful process. A really
Yeah.
painful process trying to go back in past, re-level people, and work on that. And so coming fresh off that, coming into the business here, I built these out at 30 employees here, which is kind of funny, to have these kind of career progression frameworks, to have these kind of leveling, clear salary bands. Um, right early days, and I remember like we've still got the spreadsheet. There's like 450 different job positions that we could have. We didn't have these job positions, but it was just being able to go, this is why we made this decision, this is why you're this salary, in case it comes up in the future. Makes it much. I was trying to just relieve on these pain points in the future. The other thing I built out, early days in Almedia, and now the team have really, iterated on it and made it such a better tool than I ever could have, was a mock maker, or a mission outcome competency maker. And this comes kind of directly from Andreessen Horowitz hiring handbook, where every role should have a mission, every role should have outcomes, every role should have competencies. Super simple. Makes hiring a lot easier on both sides. You've got clear expectations. And so in my last business, we asked hiring managers to fill these out. Naturally, if a hiring manager is hiring like 30 different roles at once, whilst also working 60, 70 hours, trying to get them to sit down in front of a computer and fill out these out is nigh impossible. And so what I wanted to do coming into this business is to make something really scalable from day one, which partners up hiring managers with TA. And so we used Lovable to create a tool where any hiring manager can go on, type in a job title, select for level. Maybe that's a mid-level person, senior, is it a lead, is it a director? Type in, one or two projects you want this person to do. And then the LLM, which has already been prompted by us, knowing our culture, our values, understanding kind of who we are as a business, then refers to, okay, so you're looking for, I don't know, a finance manager, and they need to do these invoices, and then is able to build all around that from what a normal finance manager is. Because working at a hyper-growth company, where you've got these managers where for many of them it's their first time being a manager, they don't know. They know they need someone, but they don't know what they need them to do. And so that's that prompt to really be able to help them go, okay, I can delegate these kind of responsibilities, and they can work on that. And it also means that when you're going into that kickoff call as a talent acquisition partner, the hiring manager already has an understanding of the role. You're saving so much time in discovery. Um, yeah, I think it was a huge unblocker for us. We did learn something along the way. We also created a salary band kind of tool, which every role has a salary band, as I discussed, for every level of role. And we actually integrated that into this, so hiring managers could self-serve. So say again, that finance manager comes up, and they go, oh, it's this level. Then it would show the salary for that role to the hiring manager. We had to remove that feature because we realized pretty early on that it was creating false expectations. A hiring manager would come in and go, okay, we're looking for this finance manager at this salary. And it's like, whoa. You said that you want them at this level, but actually you need them to do X, Y, and Z. So there's so much more on top of this. And then trying to reset that expectation when they have this in their head already is really tough. So we
Right.
remove that and put that kind of human back in the loop.
Yeah, for sure. It's like that not doing too much. As you put it, like self-service, right? Like
Yeah.
making sure that you're you're able to stay in the loop for sure. Um, so like just to zoom out, right? Like now that you've been in talent leadership roles for a while, what would you say are your like top takeaways, lessons learned, or when you're sharing with other leaders who are tuning in, like yeah, top lessons learned. Let's start there.
I've got quite a few. I think I used to over-index on passion. And I would hire people who were super passionate early on in my kind of leadership career. was like, wow, you are so passionate about this. But I learned pretty hard where I gave people a lot of rope and maybe less structure, thinking that that passion would be able to drive through it. But now my learning from this is I still index on passion, but it needs to be in collaboration with curiosity too. So you're not only you're actually able to explore and develop. One is a signal, the other is a little bit more of evidence. The other one, and this is probably survivor bias for sure, and I'm fully aware of that, is, you know, I think we need to stop over-indexing on CVs as a whole. I think some of the most fantastic hires I've had on my team have had a very unconventional way to get to where they are. And I think that goes some way to show the for what they bring to the table may be slightly different.
Yeah.
So for myself, I come with no degree. I started as a swim coach, ended up working at Apple, then moving into kind of agency recruitment for a couple of years before going into startups. And now work as kind of a talent acquisition and people leader. I think one of our best kind of unconventional profiles started working in people and then went, I don't see the longevity in this role. I'm going to go and study data science for a couple of years. Um, a really, really unique profile, which didn't have a kind of clear linear. I think we gave a kind of a chance on this profile, which not everyone would. And it's been insane the effect that's had. So I think neat CV doesn't automatically equal real potential.
Yeah, I totally agree. Do your hiring managers?
It's a learning point. Yeah, we're on a learning journey together. I mean,
Yeah,
I've had this conversation for a couple of
yeah,
years, and I usually win this kind of debate. My last two CEOs and many of the C-level actually didn't have degrees or college degrees or whatever as well.
yeah,
And they kind of go, yeah, I want someone who's come out of Stanford or Harvard. And I'm like, dude, you don't. What are you, and it's the reframing. And I totally understand where they're coming from. I agree. It's a super high bar, and that's a really good signal. But that's not the only signal we should be looking for. It's an
yeah,
index
for
of
sure.
what they built, and it might not be going through a normal path.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I also think that there's like value in that type of diversity. Like maybe you do want a couple of the Stanford grads, maybe you do want a couple of the less conventional paths, maybe a couple dropouts, maybe people that, are career shifting. You want some people that are more experienced and older. You want some people that are younger. And like, I
Yeah,
think like having that's something that I've learned over the years. Like, it was actually probably a more recent realization. Like, I see a lot more value in having a diversity in like the also seniority. Like,
yeah,
because that so for one of my companies is Secure Vision, and it's an embedded recruiting and RPO firm in the tech space. And I started the company about like a decade ago, and we really had potentially over indexed on people with like a ton of experience. And like in some ways, like really good ways. Like all of our recruiters that we assign to customers are senior level. Like we don't actually put junior people on like with customers because like we need people that have like a lot of startup growth stage experience that like know how to recruit in hyper growth environments, right? Like that. So that expertise is important. But there are certain positions in which like junior talent can be really like great. And we really again like I think we over index on like seniority and experience, like traditional. And I just opened an office in Western Virginia outside of the DC market area for a go-to-market team because we're really actually starting to go outbound to scale more aggressively. And I hired junior staff, a handful of folks, 22, 23 years old. And I've been like so incredibly impressed with the creativity, the energy, how they approach like problem solving and actually like solving strategic problems that I wasn't really expecting.
yeah.
And I'm realizing like, oh wow, it's like it's so important to have different folks at different stages in their career from different backgrounds on the team. It just because you're going to approach problems from ways that and solutions from ways that you otherwise wouldn't have. So it's something where I've just learned. I was like, oh wow, this is great. Like I need to be more intentional about building the company this way moving forward.
100%. It's more about those kind of skill skills and
Behaviors, right? Like behaviors too.
yeah, and drivers. Yeah, exactly. Like
Yeah.
for me, it's ownership, curiosity, and intensity. Right, those three things
Ownership,
where
curiosity,
people don't
intensity.
always wait to be told. But they can, but yeah, don't wait to be told. They genuinely care about what their work. And it's not about how they think. They haven't been taught to go, you need to go through X to get to Y process, which I think is how some colleges teach, but it's about what they are able to output.
When you say, tell me more about what you mean by intensity. Like, how do you like gauge that? And what does that look
Yeah.
like? Yeah.
Intensity means for me, it kind of ties in with the passion point, right? Like they are thinking about like I think about work, and this might sound really sad, but I'm passionate about what I do. I love what I do, and so I'm thinking about work from when I wake up to when I go to bed. And I'm
That's
not
not
saying
sad.
like
It would be sad if you hated it. Like,
yeah, no, it would.
right. Just like,
Uh, but I'm like,
yeah.
honestly, it gives me energy thinking about it and
Right.
going, this is a really cool idea. And I've literally today using Claude, I came up with a whole pitch deck, which I've for a new idea that I want to spin out here.
Oh,
Media,
yeah.
won't go into good
Are you
detail at this
sure?
point.
Hey, you can present it
Yeah,
now.
no,
We
I
can
can't,
put
I
it out,
can't.
put it out to the world.
I'm super hyped. Like
Yeah.
that was a thought that had been just kind of going through my head when I was trying to get to sleep and stuff. Some really cool project that I'd love to be able to say I achieved that in a year. But let's see. Yeah.
Let's see. Nice, nice. That's awesome. I love that. Well, yeah, I mean, that's interesting. So ownership, curiosity, and intensity. I have like my behavioral breakdown of I don't know if behavioral traits is like the right way to put it. But like for hires at Secure Vision, I
Mhm.
should actually share with you. It's my list is starting to get like longer though, so I'm wondering if there's I like yours because it's
This is how
three.
it goes. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
this is exactly how it goes. We were building out our values chart here at Almedia, like earlier on when we went through this design studio, creating our new branding.
Yeah.
And I was just like, folks, this list is just getting longer and longer and longer, and like nobody is gonna this won't go in, and we need to be able to condense this into like five or six
Yeah. No.
six reads. It's
Mine is
tough.
starting to get like I'll share it with you on the chat real fast. It's it's like getting there. It's getting up there. Um, but I'm still refining it. But like this is
Nice.
basically what I've defined as like every A player I've ever met at a startup and growth stage company, including my own. So it's like one is like yeah, highly responsive, fast, proactive. Two, highly organized and accurate. 300% say-do ratio. To me, that's huge. Like if you say you're gonna do it, do it. Like,
Yeah.
you know, ask for clarification, expectation setting, strong prioritization, call it how it is, clear two-way communication. Commercially minded is like a more modern thing for me, but like everything we do is to accelerate sustainable revenue growth through renewals and upsells. Like I am huge on one thing I've been thinking about a lot lately is like making sure that there's a singular goal for the entire organization and everybody realizes that that is what they are there to achieve. So for like what I mean by that, and I'm curious to get your thoughts on it, but like what I mean by that is like for my company, everybody here is to accelerate revenue growth. So I don't care if you're hired as a recruiter, GTM, finance, operate, whatever. It doesn't matter. Like at the end of the day, we are all hired to accomplish that goal. And when I'm hiring people, I actually put like a big of like part of the emphasis on that and not their JD because I want them to understand their JD is flexible and is going to adapt and it's going to change. And it's really about the fastest place, the fastest way to get from A to B to accomplish like our North Star.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure they're like commercially minded and they really understand like the outcome that we're here to produce. And so I that's a big part of it too.
Like firstly, can I just say with those values, they fit almost perfectly to what we've built out as well here at All Media,
Really?
right? Yeah, no, honestly,
Nice.
like for us, what we say is own everything. So ownership, but owning everything. And
Yeah.
the point of that value, and we go into detail on this, is it's not ownership, not just purely the word ownership, because what we don't want to do is create this kind of unconscious or subconscious kind of thinking that it's your project and you end up with these kind of siloed kind of castles where people are going, that's mine, that's mine. We have own everything. We want everyone to have a genuine curiosity across the business and be able to jump into anything. Very much in the same kind of line of thinking. We're also very transparent, and I can't share this today, I'm afraid. We because
That's
I
fine.
don't. I don't think I can send an NDA to every listener of this. But we share during the interview process after an NDA is signed what our revenue per employee is, which is multiple times what some big tech companies are, right?
That's awesome.
We're doing really well. And I kind of say to them, it doesn't matter what position you are in the business, right? You might not think that you're bringing revenue in, but you should be, right? In one way or another. And I
That's really
need,
smart because it makes
yeah,
them understand like they're there to contribute to that. That's literally
exactly.
why we have like the job. That's why we're being hired is to
Exactly.
produce that
It's slightly
return.
different line of thinking because we're bootstrap and we can say that like, we're hiring because we're able to, there's no VC, there's no kind of bank or loan coming to us. We're hiring because we believe in you and we want to increase that revenue per employee. And so we need you
Yeah.
to think like a business owner. Any idea that you have, let's go.
Yeah. Yeah, that's like yeah, and I think like the whole like level of like uh personal accountability is just massive too. It goes kind of hand in hand with ownership, but like the this typical startup stuff like being in and able like to be like really proactive and to be able to operate with autonomy and to not need your hand held like yeah, like I think of the best startups I've worked with, it's like there are a lot of people there that will be supportive. Like
Yeah,
they will answer any question they have, but like you have to sort of take charge of your own onboarding to some extent. And like there are resources, right? But
yeah,
like also go, like just make it happen, right? Have the conversation, set them up on your calendar. Don't wait to be presented with information. Go out. You should, there should be clarity into like the outcomes need to be produced in the role. You know why you're hired, get
yeah.
after it, right? Like that type of persona, I feel like is so critically important.
Well, 100.
I just don't, I hate compromising on behavioral fit. I can compromise on anything else. I can overlook CVs. I can do anything. The one thing that I just like, I think is just the most important is there has to be the cognitive piece. Like they have to be, like people have to be smart,
Yeah,
to be successful at a lot of these companies. But behaviorally, like I just, every time I've compromised, it's been a mistake. Like I've regretted it
yeah.
every time.
When you start to see differences across their CV and their profile or what they've said online, it's like you need to index on these things. And I think I've seen huge mistakes where, founders in the past, especially when I had my own consultancy, they would overlook it. They'd be like, "Oh yeah, I'm sure it'll be fine." And
Yeah, it's
of course,
not. Yeah,
yeah,
you're just gambling at that
yeah,
point.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, so you have to be like like I think whether or not like people necessarily realize it, like our job as talent leaders is we're literally managing the largest investment a company will ever make. So I really do see like the role of a talent leader as like an investment manager. And
Huh.
like really, because think about it, it's like it's an eight-figure investment that your company's making, probably, I would assume, every year. It's the biggest, literally the biggest investment they're making is in over in anything else, is in people, it's in payroll. It's like so it's like
Yeah.
that's it's kind of crazy sometimes when you see like oh go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've got a talent acquisition team of just purely recruiters of 10 recruiters right now.
Yeah.
And with them, we as I said earlier on, we have quite a lot of first time managers and first time leads. They don't
Yeah.
always know what good hiring looks like or what good looks like, and so it's their job really to be the gatekeepers of a business's
Right, exactly.
success. And this is what they
It's
do 100%.
right. It's like it's a talent acquisition's job to actually make sure that like the company's getting a return on investment on
Yeah,
this incredibly large expense, right? On an annual
yeah,
basis. And that's why it's kind of wild to me. Like when you see some companies, it's like they have like a really busted, tight, really busted TA process, like with a really insanely tight budget. They don't want to spend any money on it. They got like eight figures in payroll, but they don't want to. Oh, why should we have to pay for this like one piece of tech or like another recruiter? It's like this is literally this person should be this is somebody who's doing like managing
yeah,
the largest investment you'll ever make that has the biggest potential to ruin you or to make you successful, right? It's sort
yeah,
of interesting, right? But like that's really how I see like the level of impact and where like talent like where we should be playing. It's not obviously butts and seats. It's like, hey, we need to take a risk adverse approach, be the gatekeeper, and we need to make sure we're getting maximum ROI or revenue per employee
yeah,
possible, right?
yeah, yeah,
That's the game.
100%.
Yeah, it's really fun stuff. I'm passionate about it too. I like it. I like what
I
we
think
do. It's cool.
this is the kind of mission that is set off for the talent acquisition team, right? Like, so for this company, joining it when there were 30 employees, we have more than doubled our revenue per employee over that time. So we've been able to grow the business, but also be able to know
Better
that
margins.
density is also
Dude, I'm
improving.
sure VCs are just trying to throw money at you guys. They're like, "Are you sure? Do you need
I
money?
can't.
You want to
It's
just take
yeah.
some?"
It's so funny. It
Yeah.
is so funny about the kind of inbound that we get from them, and it's like now you're interested in us, like
Right.
we don't get.
Yeah, I
It's
mean that's not necessary. Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. What a cool place to be. That's really cool. Hey, so I want to talk to you a little bit about like who you're becoming, right? Like what growth looks like for you at this point in your life, right? Like again, leaders tuning in, similar places to you, right? Like TA leadership roles, but I think there's a genuine, you talk about the traits of like A players that you want to hire. It's like there's this genuine level of curiosity, high level of ownership, of like this desire to consistently try to become like the best version of ourselves and to grow. And so, I'm curious, like when you think about your own development, and not just within TA, but like holistically as Tristan, like an entire human being, not just like the VP of people, right? Like how do you think about your own development and being like the best version of yourself over the next several years?
Yeah. There's a couple of tracks to this. Thank you. Thanks so much for the question. Like, there's a couple of tracks to this in my mind. Like, there's one element of me which kind of goes, take every day as it comes. And I do, like, you can't take anything for granted, for sure. I've learned that both the hard way and the exciting way, right? Um, we're opening up an office in New York and London in the next couple of months. That's really hype. Let's see how this goes and how it grows. I'm sure there'll be more sites in the future as we continue to increase. Then there's the other side of me, which is what have I taken from the community over the years, and how can I give back? Right. So like one really like I was at a meetup last week, and this person in my position, another fast growing company, it's kind of like, why do you go to these, by the way? Like, why are you at these? Why are you're involved in talking to people and discussing and stuff? What are you going to get out of it? What are you trying to get here? And I couldn't answer him at first because I didn't actually understand why. I was like, well, why do I do this? And I had a bit of an introspective kind of couple of minutes over dinner. And I came back to him a little bit later and just said, for me, genuinely, it's about being able to connect with people that are going through similar, even if it's not the same kind of company, but similar kind of problems, and being able to kind of share. I'm not going to say trauma bond, but be able to share things, share kind of problems, and be able to solve them together with different perspectives. And I think it's really really important. And I would say that to any leader out there, like if you're so kind of I guess, just in your frame of mind at your current workplace, I would get out there a little bit and share it. If not for yourself, then for people that want to progress, because it's like it's I think some of the tips and kind of the problems that we've been through can be really can really unlock others. And finally, the other elements of this kind of story as well is like, who do I want to be? Do there's one thing that I regularly, it just comes up into my mind every now and then, and it's like the worst managers I've had throughout my history. It doesn't matter what kind of position, right? It doesn't matter if that's swim coaching or working in retail at points, or a recruitment agency. And I think about the traits they had, and it just kind of locks me in, right? For until next time I think about it, the next couple of weeks, I'm like, I don't want to be like that. I don't want to do that. I mean, I think about the people that really inspired me to do what I do today, and I try and apply a little bit of that magic with my own kind of personality. That's from the heart. That's really true.
I love it. I mean, it's I do well, yeah, there's a lot. I mean, I also think it's like it's so important to try to be involved in peer groups, not only for our own development, but to help others. And it's also interesting, and you probably know this as a teacher too. It's like sometimes when you're teaching things, it helps us understand it even better, right?
Yeah.
Or we able are able to make other connections to get even better at what we do. So it's kind of nice how that can work, right? It's like we're help building other people up, and we're also helping. Like it's good for us too. It feels good. Um,
Yeah.
it's good for us, and
Yeah, exactly. It's a
yeah,
way to internalize it because otherwise you're not
right,
really thinking about it. You're just doing it, and then this way is kind of underlining it, and you're understanding why. Exactly.
yeah, yeah. That's really cool. Awesome. Well, Tristan, thank you. I've really enjoyed recording with you. This was a lot of fun today. Um, really good conversation. I'm really grateful that you I know you're scaling like crazy. You got all sorts of stuff going on, but yeah, thanks for setting aside the time to join the show and contribute to our audience. You're already
Yeah.
doing it. You're already giving back and helping out. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, James. Thank you, everyone. And speak soon. Cheers.